a little bit what it is because it's so awesome, and Vicki shares this in hospice and other places. But
the Reverie Harp is an instrument that was created by a company called Music Makers in Stillwater, Minnesota, in I think about the year 2008, 2009. And there was a need for an instrument that music therapists could take around. I'm not a music therapist, but I just could take around to different places and not have to carry their heavier harps. You know, a lot of music therapists have, like, even lap harps are a lot heavier, so that they could play and have something more transportable. And also, they can also let the patient play it if they're able to use their hands. And that's the beautiful thing about it, because it's tuned to a pentagonic scale. So we have 5 notes on it, and it makes everything sound beautiful on it. That's why I can be up here and play it. And the only reason.
No.
Seriously. So you can't make a mistake on it if you have it tuned right. And so some music therapists have one, and they have 2 of them, and then they'll let the patient play, and they'll play along with them. And there's different tunings, and this is called the Reverie tuning. And then there's one called a meditation tuning. It sounds a little bit more psalm, a little moody more. And I tried that one time, but it was a little bit, it wasn't quite as uplifting as this one. And then there's a lullaby tuning that people can tune if they want to sing along. I haven't tried that one either because I don't sing. You don't want to hear me sing.
Good, you never know.
So.
Well, let's move you up here, and so they can get the full effect. And I just invite everybody to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and allow yourself to become comfortable in your seat. And if you're not, just breathe into any area where you may be feeling stress or strain, and quiet your mind with each breath. And we allow our attention and focus to go to our heart space. And if you choose to place your hands on your heart, do so to bring that awareness, make it stronger. And continue to breathe and allow the heart to take you away. Allow the tones and the vibration of this beautiful instrument to resonate with each cell of your being, transforming every cell from darkness to light, every thought from fear to love. Take this into your heart and envision your heart expanding, extending beyond your body, pulsating and vibrating with such a high vibration that we are all transformed by this experience. You are holy. You are divine. You are loved beyond measure. You are supported in everything you do. Accept this truth, this gift, for it is time for us to walk together in our holiness. Ask the Holy Spirit, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? Holy Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we place our hearts, our future, our minds in your hands. Please guide us, lead us, and direct us so that we may walk this world with an open heart, an open mind, ready to receive, ready to give. May we be a light, shining your perfect love in all we do. So it is. Namaste Center. I'm Reverend Charlotte McGinnis and want to welcome everybody and thank everybody for being here in our physical space today and joining us on Facebook Live, and really appreciate it. Love to have this vehicle to share our message with, and just grateful that everyone tunes in, and really grateful for your support from afar. So thank you for contributing and supporting our Namaste ministry. Well, this week obviously is a holiday week. Wednesday is the 4th of July. We celebrate the birth of our nation, and I've really been reflecting on this much longer than just going into this week, because I realize that we've missed the mark a little bit on our original plan when this nation was created. And so I thought we'd go over some of this and talk about what freedom really is, and maybe how we can be more aware and conscious of what this great nation, the roots of this great nation we live in. And you know, we are so blessed to live in a country where we have the freedoms we do. I'm just going to read the very beginning of the Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve political bands which have connected them with another, and assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And, it's very timely. I think that we're into the 4th of July again. It's always timely, I guess, July 4th. But that being said, somewhere along the line, we've missed the mark. When our country was established back in 1776, these were gentlemen who came from Europe, England, to basically say that, we don't like the way things are happening here. And we want to create a country where the laws of God, and I'm not talking about a religious God, because really it's very clear that we do need to keep the separation of church and state. We're beginning to see why lots more lately. But that being said, now I will back up. I am also although this country was rooted in by beautiful means and well-intended people, there were many who suffered at the demise of the Native Americans. Suffered greatly through this. So this wasn't all like, this is beautiful and so on and so forth. And we still have our atoning to do to the Native Americans. We have our forgiveness work, ask for forgiveness at a deep level, because that was a tragedy in itself. I can remember back in 1994 in Florida, Mary Ann Williamson, it was the first time she came to our center in Florida, and she did a lecture, and a benefit lecture. And anyway, we were in this place in West Palm Beach called the Kravis Center. It's basically very much like the Peace Center in Greenville. Well, she packed it, 2,300 people. It was the first time she'd been to West Palm, and it was an awesome evening. And she was, at the end of the lecture, we were talking about injustice, or she was talking about injustices done, and predominantly focused on the African Americans. And at the end of the talk, we did a forgiveness prayer, which was a meditation and sending our love and asking for forgiveness to the African Americans for all the crimes that we did against them. And even though we didn't personally, it's still in our consciousness. Well, the same thing with the Native Americans and others. I mean, this has, gone on for millennia, but anyway, the neat thing was there was not a dry eye in the house. I mean, people were sobbing. I went to the box office at the end of the evening, and they're still sobbing. They're like, oh my God, because they had it on video and piped through to the box office. And, I think it is the past. We don't have to dwell on it. We don't have to stay stuck there. But I think we need to look at maybe our past sins, our past mistakes, send love, and ask for forgiveness wherever necessary. So in this mix, we're all, as this says, all men. That means black men, African American men and women, obviously, Chinese, it doesn't matter, Muslim, Catholic, all of the above. We are endowed by our Creator. And among these rights that we have are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then the Constitution were the laws for us to follow, to maintain and withhold this beautiful vision and mission that we were given 200 and some odd years ago. Can't do the math that quickly, but a long time ago. And anyway, so our country was a great experiment. I look at it as a great experiment. Our founding fathers came here to say that, we are creating this based on these great principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the fact that we're all equal, we're all one. We think that some people are better than, worse than, higher than, lower than, whatever. That's insanity, okay? If we are here, which I believe we are, to be masters, we're all masters, we all have that potential. And what is mastery but to know our truth, which is that we're divine, we're holy, we're non-dualistic. And if we're non-dualistic and we're masters, we're really walking this world as others before us have. Example, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, the list goes on and on and on, Kuan Yin. And we're here to love as God loves. Well, how does God love? Totally and unconditionally. God does not categorize us by color, shape, size, age, any of that. That's not how God sees us. God sees beyond our illusory makeup, beyond our costume, meat bag as some people call it, beyond what we've done and accomplished in the world. It doesn't matter. We spend so much time, and this has been a theme the past few weeks about identity. We spend so much time building this false facade, this identity that just is not allowing us to tap into our true identity, which is spirit, which is love, which is ultimately God. Mastery, that's all of us have that potential. And so we're all equal. So we got to get off this trip pointing the finger. And even if, I love that there's a line from the Course in Miracles, and it says, no matter what we do, good or bad, and I'm definitely framing this in my own language, no matter what we do, good or bad, God never changes his, her mind about us. And so there's nothing we can do to earn God's love, and there's nothing we can do to diminish God's love. So, if you want to be a do-gooder to earn God's love, you've already got it. But what I really feel happens is when we know that and live from that place, you become naturally more giving and open and loving and kind. So it's a natural extension of who we are and who we realize. So we're all one. We truly are. And we have to start acting like it. For us to maintain this beautiful gift we were given years ago, it's time that we step up and answer the call. So this gift is the gift of freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion. In other countries you can be beheaded for having a Bible, for crying out loud. Here we do have that freedom, and we have to, protect those freedoms and honor those freedoms and understand how valuable that gift really is. We've also, from our Creator, been bestowed with the gift of free will. So, in other words, we can come down here and be the biggest schmuck in the world, and we can just be mean and ugly and all this, or we can be kind and loving. And we can be happy and joyful, or we can be sad. But it's a moment-by-moment choice. So we have to pay attention and choose wisely. Really pay attention. Is this thought, is this action, is this what have you, moving me in a direction towards the light, towards awakening, or is it keeping me in judgment, fear, and separation and stagnant? So we have that gift of free will. So, our history wasn't so wonderful. Slavery, wars, human rights issues, but our Constitution and the hearts and desire of so many people enable us, it gives us a tool to overcome this. And yesterday, did anyone in here participate in in the march? Okay, we got two here. So there was the, what was it called? It was called the Families Belong Together. And millions of people from around the country, and probably beyond our country, I'm sure, came together to march for the rights of these families that have been separated. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, to be able to go out and be able to even protest freely is a gift. That, you know, we want to preserve that. We want to be able to honor that. Now, I will say, and I always feel like I have to add this and include this, because there's a slippery slope there. I think the old paradigm, you know, we have to step out of that paradigm of perpetuating war and conflict and all of this, you know, who's the next target? You know, it's the African Americans, it's the Native Americans, it's the gays, it's this, it's that, it's you know, we always got to have a target. Now it appears that a big target is Hispanics in our country. So we're always looking for that next enemy. You know, that's the ego's tactic. We're always looking, well, who can we make the enemy now? Who's the bad guy? But it's, well, saying this, when we do go for these protests, and I will say that, you know, the pink hat movement, this current march, all of these, we need to make sure that we do these in the spirit of marching for the change that we desire. Not against, not to make anyone wrong or bad, but not to attack, but rather to say, I am for families being together, not against what I perceive another situation being. And so I've shared this a zillion times, but I think it bears repeating, is Mother Teresa. When she was asked to march against the Vietnamese War, she said, I won't march against anything, but if you have a march for peace, count me in. So if you are choosing to be, you know, out there in the streets, which I hope you do, because that's part of our evolution on this planet, do it in the spirit of what are you marching for. It's not about, because once you point the finger, you got three pointed back, okay? We've all heard that, that's number one. But once I get into that energy of condemnation and blame and attack and making wrong, well then I'm actually making that more real. I'm expanding it because everything is energy and I'm feeding that energy. So put the energy in what you want, not what you don't want. And we can apply that to social activism, and we can apply that to also our own life. Where are you putting your energy? We have that free will. Am I putting my energy on that which I choose or what I really desire? Or am I, and I've been guilty of this many times in the past, I've put a lot of energy into the problem rather than what I desire. And what is it? Negative people have a solution, a problem for every solution. And I think that's such a truth. And I've been there, and I can still sneak down that. So, you know, how many times do we have a problem for every solution? So where am I putting my attention? That's our free will. Interdependence. The definition of interdependence is the dependence of two or more people on or things on each other. Now, whether we realize it or not, we're, you know, I look at this, we're all one. My salvation, according to A Course in Miracles and other teachings, my salvation is dependent on the person I can't stand the most waking up. If I'm holding a grievance and judging and attacking a brother or a sister, then I'm putting that veil between me and the light. So that person is playing a role in my awakening. So you want to be a master? I want to be a master. I choose to be a master. I think we all are here to be masters. And I know that every time I judge or condemn another, that I'm just, my salvation is like, and my, you know, salvation sounds like a real religious term, but salvation is awakening, mastery, enlightenment. So my mastery is dependent on me seeing the divine in everyone. So who is it? You gotta look at who is it that's poking your buttons lately? What situation is it that's really, you know, getting your goat lately? And then just recognize it as an opportunity for healing. That's why the marches are so important that we stay in that framework of, I'm marching, I'm being an activist because I want everybody to awaken. I want everybody, I am for this. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, these people are horrible and they're doing this and this and this. Yes, in an ego sense, it's some ugly stuff happening in our world, no doubt, no doubt. But in truth, we can't feed that. We got to feed the change. We got to feed that change. So Martin Luther King, just to support the idea of interdependence, he says, we're all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied together in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. We are made to live together because of the interrelated structure of reality. Before you finish eating breakfast in the morning, you've depended on more than half the world. This is the way our universe is structured. This is the interrelated quality. We aren't going to have peace on earth till we recognize the fact of the interrelated structure of all reality. And I love this because, the breakfast in the morning, okay? It just didn't, we go to the grocery store, and I don't think any of us raise our own pigs and chickens yet. Some do, maybe, and farm. Some people I know have gardens. But really, there's a whole network that's put this breakfast on the table, okay? It's the animals. It's those who nurture the animals, and the farmers, and those who drive the trucks and deliver it, and the people at the grocery store, and the people who get the seeds. I mean, it's endless. How many people have had a hand in making that chair or this computer? I mean, so we're all interrelated and interconnected in a way, much bigger way. It's pretty mind-boggling when you think about it. So we need each other. We need to connect and support each other. So, as I was planning this, I realized that our Namaste Center is going through our own evolution. And so much of this is exactly what I speak of here. We're working on defining our vision and our mission so clearly that, because, right now, and I'll be the first to admit it, if someone asked most of us, what is the Namaste Center? It's a cool place, nice people, interfaith center, spiritual message, good music, blah, blah, whatever it is, it's a family, it's an awesome place. But we want to be able to have our own little constitution, our own declaration of who we are, and our own guidelines. So we're going through the same thing just as our Namaste Center. And this is our own little experiment. And this experiment is endless, with infinite possibilities of what's to come, which I'm very excited about the process. What seemed kind of like, a month ago is now like, wow. Universe, you get out of the way and the universe will just come in and amp it up. And, why we don't allow God's plan to guide us. Why do we have to wait till we go down so far before we, step in? Allow Spirit to step in. I still don't know, but I've seen the magic of this. Now, one thing I think that we can also consider with our group here, and then globally, is just to reinforce the points I'm choosing to make today, is that united we stand, divided we fall. And that is, we have to be united. And I want to share something. Sometimes I take the bait on Facebook, and I will make a statement, and boy, I'll hear from it. And I really do choose to stay neutral, because I really feel I am pretty neutral. But I find that people who have maybe a strong affiliation with one point of view over another tend to have to defend their point of view and attack the other. So it was a very general type of statement I made. This one woman I've known for years, she had, she's rabid. I mean, and this isn't mean rabid, she's just rabid though with her, enthusiasm for her beliefs. And so then she gets in and she'll pipe in and she's like going to town with, everybody, and, people are piping in and it's like, you could just see like a cat and a mouse doing this thing. And then, and to be honest, her views aren't really in alignment with mine. Doesn't mean she's wrong, just means, but I don't engage in that. Well, I will say that I've noticed that currently, more than ever, people who have opposing political views feel like they need to unfriend you, literally, not only on Facebook, but literally, because you don't, if you like this person and you believe that, I can't be your friend. I've seen that a lot. And, it's okay to have differences. This particular woman, I had an issue last week that it was just something that I was looking for some guidance on. And, next thing I know, and this is the beauty of Facebook, I get a message, private message, call me, here's my number, I think I can help you. And we had the most beautiful, lovely conversation, and she was helpful, she and her husband. They were answering some questions about something for me. So I'm thinking, that's what it's about. Yeah, we can be strong in our viewpoints, and we can still be friends. And we need to come back to that. Honor that we can be totally at opposite ends of the spectrum in our belief, but we can still like each other. They talk about in politics at the end of the day that even they'd be fighting in the the chambers all day, drilling in their points of view and their laws, but afterwards they'd all be able to go back and have a drink together and they were friends. They did their work and then they remained friends. I'm hoping, I'm choosing to know that we can get back to that state of being. So couple of closing quotes. Yogananda, one of my favorites, Paramahansa. Freedom is the basis of all happiness. Without freedom, there is no happiness. This means freedom from despair, freedom from resentment, freedom from jealousy and fear. Genuine practice is practice that helps you become freer and more solid. Every step you take, every breath you take, every minute of sitting meditation, and every bowl you wash will give you more solidarity and freedom. So it's, without being free, we're not happy. What is it that we're still, what are we not free of? What chains that are binding us? That song, I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains that bind me. Well, what chains are still binding us from being free? Where are we not allowing ourselves to be masters and stepping into our true God power, our true light? So I was humming that song this morning. And freedom means the power to act by soul guidance, not by compulsions or desires and habits. Obeying the ego leads to bondage. Obeying the soul brings liberation. So, lots of things going on. The good news is it's all good news, if we choose to see it that way. So let's all just take into our hearts and our minds, not only our country, our world, but our center here, because our center is a part of the interconnectedness with all things. The more we can identify and stay in this place of light, everyone benefits. So each and every one of us are a great light into the world. So it's all exciting, and I hope each and every one of you guys have a very blessed and happy 4th of July, and so it is. Namaste. Namaste.